Greetings, race fans, and welcome to Sim Racers Group Formula 4 Racing on SMB. JR Gregory here with you on the call. Beside me in the commentary booth, my partner Kennen Miller, and tonight's producer, the great Mike Braun. Tonight's round 11 of SRG F4 action returns to Japan to the Okayama circuit. This track was originally opened in 1990 as a private facility for wealthy enthusiasts and eventually hosted the Japanese Grand Prix in 1994 and 1995. 100% Michael Schumacher victories, by the way, across those 2 years. Also past host to World Touring Cars and Asian Le Mans Series. Current host to Super Formula Lights, GT World Challenge Asia, Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, and many others. Tonight's configuration, 2.3 miles, 3.7 clicks, 13 turns, and the current track record predictably held by Schumi, 114.023 in a Benetton F1 car. Remember those back in 1994. So Kennen, I've been on the iRacing service for almost a decade at this point, and when I joined iRacing, Okayama was free content. And if you were driving Miatas, it felt like all Okayama all the time. Wasn't really a fan of it back then, but I took a spin out here today, and it was a really enjoyable drive in these F4 cars. I don't think I ever really appreciated the elevation changes. There's some really nice banking in a couple of these corners, and they're really well suited to these cars. And to say nothing of the new Scan, looks a lot better and kind of gives you a feel for the geography in the area around the track. So kind of looking forward to the race tonight. And what do you think we're going to see out of these guys?
Yeah, thanks, JR. It's definitely a very scenic type of drive when you're out here at the Okayama International Circuit. It's a very flowing track in the first half, and then it definitely gets a lot more technical as you get to the back half of the lap. We'll see that a lot, where a lot of the accidents happen are going to be in the back half. There's just much more slower turns, a couple double apexes that feels like it should be a straightaway, and we're going to see some pretty good racing. This car, it's built perfectly for Formula 4. Like I said, I think anybody, if you've ever played iRacing, you know what the Okayama International Circuit is, and it's a very well racy track. You're going to have a lot of side-by-side. It's a lot of speed. There's nothing too tight. No one real hairpin is going to be on the backstretch, and after that, everything else is more a lift and light brake to get through the corners.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's going to be a lot of open invitations. The track is quite wide, and oh my goodness, and there's some unfriendly interaction taking place down there in practice. But yeah, the track is quite wide. There are a number of spots where there's going to be an open invitation to try side by side, maybe try 3 wide. And just in my kind of notes to myself as I was trying to get faster out here this afternoon, a couple things that stood out. One is you got to be patient, but you got to be assertive putting the power down out of these slower corners, and timing there is going to be everything. And the other thing is was you got to be careful not to over slow, particularly turn 1. You can go through a lot quicker than you might think. Turn 1 and 2, I'm going to say. So these are not massively overpowered cars. They are kind of momentum cars with aero. So important to keep that momentum going and not over slow into these faster corners. Take advantage of the grip that these cars have, and get the hammer down as quick as you can.
Certainly right. It's not that the cars are overpowered, but what you will find, these cars are going to carry a lot of high apex speed, and that's going to unsettle that rear end. And if you give it a little too much input, get on the gas a little too early, even without some sort of crazy super powered car, it's going to let that rear end's going to want to just go on you. So drivers are going to have to manage that the whole race. There's going to be a handful the whole time. This is probably one of the quicker tracks throughout the entire circuit that we see the whole season.
Yeah, too right. And we're going to hop on with Danush Poborji right now from our alien class, sitting currently in P2, 1500s off of the pole sitter Stephen Case. Here's that turn 1 I was talking about. You want to brush off as little speed as possible here, and now it's pedal to the metal. Really use the track limits. These curbs, Kennen, around here are quite friendly. Really no impediment to driving over all of them. You see Poborji straightening out this little straightaway right here. This is a really interesting corner. I was keeping it in third here. You can go through here really fast, and this is one of the areas where that F4 motor, you wish for a little bit more grunt, because you're kind of bogging down in third heading up the hill, and wish you could get a little bit more drive out of there. And here comes a pretty interesting combo. And again, I didn't appreciate this back in my Miata days, but look at the banking on that right-hander. Then you're going to charge down the hill, perfectly set that one up. That one has some weird camber, really easy to swap ends right there. Then hard on the power here, all the way out onto the green. Again, the curbs are your friends here at Okayama, and here's the place that requires patience, patience, patience. Powers on the throttle, throws away the exit of that corner to get a good run here. And this is where the front straight really starts. You're running it through the gears, no lift, no brakes right here. Accelerating, a little lift here in fourth to get that front end to bite. Let the car go wide out onto the green, and that is a very quick lap, only 90-second lap of Okayama, courtesy of Danush Poborji. And did he move up there while I was yelling at him driving? I'm going to say no. So practice winding down here, and our qualifying session will be underway in a moment or two.
That was actually a really nice lap by Borgi. He certainly struggled in that final corner as well as turn one. You have to utilize every bit of the track limits, like you said during the track video there, and just turn one, if you don't get in there so fast enough that it just throws you out wide, you won't get it. Turn one, I think maybe a little bit of a late entry, but you do have to slow the car down a little bit to get it a little tighter on that right hand curve and just set sail down the front stretch. So yeah, it's a very interesting lap. It's a quick lap. There's not really a spot where you truly slow the car down that extremely. So it's a very high speed track. It's gonna create great racing.
Yeah, I'm going to say there is one fairly heavy braking zone coming off of that first of the two kind of back straightaways up the hill out of turn 4 down into corner number 5, which on my track map is rather poetically named Hairpin, kind of in competition with turn 1, labeled here as first corner, as literary high marks in corner naming. But let's see. Looks like our practice is going to check her. We're going to go into open quali right now, and I say it every week. I love open quali. It's realistic, it's fun, and it adds some what I like to call strategery to the to the proceedings here. And here we go. Quali is underway, and it's the mad dash to get out on track. And again, Kennen, I'm a bit of a broken record on this. It may be wise to take a breath here and create some space around yourself instead of getting involved in a traffic jam. There's a pretty broad collection of skills here from the Inter 2 drivers all the way up to the aliens. We'll see a second or two difference in those lap times. So might be a little better to create some space, but we'll see what these drivers can do here.
Yeah, we'll see. The draft is kind of important with the front stretch and the back stretch. I think some of the timing and managing around some of this running equal laps as you could certainly benefit in the qualifying round, but we are broken records on this. I think it's one of the coolest things the SRG Formula 4 Series really brings. The open qualifying is just such a real feel to it. It's not you all alone to set some sort of perfect lap. You have to have a lot of different factors have to go your way to put in a perfect lap. So being able to manage those, put yourself in the right place, perform your best lap, it's all going to benefit you every week.
Yeah, too right. And while we are getting qualifying going here early, we're going to take a look at the points. And there is your inner alien class right now. It's Case from Mikovits from Pavorji up top, followed by Velasco, Oladipo, Eggert, and Vicroy. And if you look at that gap there between Case and Mikovits, Case sitting on the championship right now by 13. And my understanding is Mikovits not going to be in attendance tonight. And that 19-point spread, where is Cotcher when I need him? I'm not sure if that P1 is going to be within reach of Pavorji or not. But Case has got to be pretty comfortable heading into this one with that big lead, and Mikovits not here. And speaking of the lockups, I understand, well, actually, Corwin and Cotcher are pretty tight up front. But anyway, they're there. It's Corwin from Cotcher, from De Silva, from Lopez, from Chris Wang as your top 5, followed by Ganesh, Cook, Snyder, Silji, Thompson, and Lebivi in your Inter 1 class. That is the middle of our 3 classes here on Sim Racers Group Formula 4. And here's the guy I was thinking of. I knew somebody here had it completely locked up, and that is Daniel Bujak. And we've seen him finish Kennen way high up in the standings a number of races with some Inter 1 guys behind him. So Bujak has completely driven away with this one. He has been consistent. He's been fast, safe, and clean. And there is his reward. He's got almost a 50-point lead on P2. He could park it and crack a beer and watch this one and come away with the championship. But it's Bujak from Conway from Duval, and spun away from me there. I talked too long. Thank you. From Navis Molina, from Grinsky there in the top 5. Then Trantham, Basada, Cardenas, Van Wagner, and Dan Swanback will round out your top 10. And we'll scroll and go ahead and look at the rest of our group there. And a few zeros there at the bottom of folks who haven't scored. So could have some action potentially. Looks like Kennen in Alien and Inter 1, and that Inter 2 battle is all over.
Bujak, very deserving champion. I wouldn't be too surprised to watch him get moved up into a higher class come next season. He may not even be racing on the same day. I could see him going into the Inter Alien F3 group that the Sim Racers group will be starting next season, which has got me kind of excited, looking forward to that. I think that'll be a very interesting challenge for all these guys coming from the way they drive Formula 4 cars. So, Bujak, fantastic season. Cotcher, if I understand right, he's going to have a perfect race tonight to keep himself in the competition. Coleman just needs a nice solid run today, and he'll be able to lock up the championship pretty much all on his own.
Yeah, and we should mention that the F3 proceedings, they're going to be firing up next season. A lot of these faster drivers will move up into F3 competition as the Sim Racers Group league and sponsorship grows here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. We're super excited about that. We're going to be showing those races on Tuesday night, and F4 races will continue on Wednesdays and create some room for some people wanting to get their feet wet in these open wheelers. And if you're interested, folks, check it out. It is a very user-friendly situation here. Damage is off, and it is all about camaraderie, learning racecraft, and getting seat time, and learning how to drive these open wheel cars. The F3, when they get up with the big dogs, are going to have damage on, and it will get a little bit more serious. But the F4 here that Sim Racers Group puts on, a fantastic way to gain experience in these open wheelers. And who knows, you might really dig it. I bought one of these cars for the first time when I started calling these races, and they are an absolute hoot to drive, and highly recommend it. But in the meantime, qualifying is rolling on, and Bujak celebrating his Inter 2 championship by sitting right now in P2. Of course, 10 minutes left. Takes these tires a little bit to get hot, but Bujak throwing down a gauntlet and letting his competitors see what he's made of. Right now, it's Case from Bujak from Snyder, one driver out of each class, followed by Corwin and Velasco. And those times are going to move, of course. Keep an eye on Pomorji there, sitting in P13, 1.3 seconds off of Case. That is not going to stay there. And if it does, his sister Sophia, I'm seeing on the YouTube chat, is going to have a word for him after the race. But yeah, here we go, Kennen. And these laps are pretty short. What do you think about the possibility of people ducking in for tires during this one?
I don't think you'll see people ducking for tires. My biggest reason I say that is I used to feel of that opinion in very much of the early half of the season, and no one really does. Everybody, I think, puts a focus on keeping the warmth in the tires and lightening up the fuel as the qualifying session goes on. It seems to work out for everybody. It was kind of funny as we were sitting here. I watched Bujak, he hit the top of the board, and I think our producer, Mike Braun, actually told us that he was top of the board, and all of 10 seconds later, we watched Stephen Case just take it right back away. So, you know, Stephen Case, he's ready to just capture his championship too tonight. I think it's kind of interesting at the end of the season. We're starting to see people are definitely going to show up and show out and make sure they get what's theirs coming to the end of the season.
And there's Pomorji answering the call, shoots back past Bujak, and now he's only got a 2300 gap ahead to Stephen Case. So now it's Case from Pomorji, from Bujak, from Chris Wang, who had a pretty good showing at Fuji. And when I pointed that out, I cursed him, and he's been kind of struggling the last couple weeks. And there he is sitting in P4 overall with Schneider and Corwin, making up the provincial podium in Inter 1. That's the yellow markings there on our timing tower. Velasco in 7, followed by Lopez, Grunsky, and Jeff Silge. But qualifying about halfway through now, and unlike some of these longer tracks, I mean, my gosh, last week at Bathurst, they hardly got in any laps, and with these 90-second laps, they're going to have multiple opportunities to put times down. So those times are going to continue dropping, but that Stephen Case time, I got to say, at 1:27.9, folks, he is flying around here.
Certainly picking up lap times, and they probably got a good 5 more laps easily that they can do flying. Chris Wayne, he's putting together a great race, and I don't understand why. He's 4th in the points right now, only 7th behind De Silva. And I don't see De Silva listed. I'm assuming maybe he's not there, so I don't know how the drop weeks will quite affect him. But I think Wayne's trying to maybe look at getting himself a bronze podium championship position. So kind of seeing a lot of different people have to show up with knowing what they've got to finish off the season strong, get a top points finishing position, and it's kind of bringing some interesting times out right now, I think.
Yeah, and there are drop weeks, folks. So our points totals may not be all they seem, and it is above my pay grade to break all that down for you. How these drops are going to work out, but it is certainly possible here that some people saw Okayama on the schedule. It's let's just say that familiarity has bred contempt of this track among many folks that have been on the service for a long time and having Miata nightmares about driving around here. So they may have circled this one early on and set this aside as their drop week, and that could explain why there aren't folks in attendance here today that you might expect to fight for those championship points. But still no moving up top. It is Case from Poborji, from Bujak, from Wang, from Snyder with 5 minutes remaining in quality.
Let's see Velasco. There's only 6 cents behind the pole, but in that position, that kind of surprising to me that he hasn't found a little more speed here. This is the kind of track I would expect to see the different classes between the aliens and the inner ones and inner twos. They kind of separate themselves, and it's in a very way shocking. You've got Bujak up there holding down the inner two club, but a lot of inner ones are right there in it, and Jeff Silge just throws himself into third place with a 128.614, or excuse me, a 128.324. So very interesting the way we're seeing the lineup between all the different classes for this type of track. I'm kind of surprised that we didn't see the aliens sort of run away a little more than this.
Yeah, and again, this is one of the great things I think about open qualifying. Our producer has that track map going for you there in the upper right, and my goodness, that looks like a traffic jam taking place. So traffic can help you if you happen to luck into the draft at the right time, and traffic can completely hinder you. And it could be that Velasco so far has just had bad luck and may be able to come up with a heater later as we're looking at Stephen Case taking a nice drive through the Japanese countryside here. And yeah, it's really a great, I love this section right here, powering up that hill. Very, very fun in this car. And really, I surprised myself quite a bit by smiling when I did my handful of F4 laps around here. It's really well suited to this car, and kind of gave me a new appreciation for Okayama.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous scenic view. They're tucked right in so much forestry. The track gets used so much as a club track in real life. It's amazing that some of these tracks you wouldn't think just how much they get used. But Formula 4 car, the way the car balances and fits, it's just a beautiful way to bring open wheel racing out to Okayama compared to some of your Formula 1, Formula 2 cars that are just a little different. They're almost overpowered for a track of this size. This is going to be some really good racing we have coming up.
Yeah, I'd be kind of curious. Like I said, a couple of Japanese Grand Prix here in the 90s won by Michael Schumacher, and I'm kind of tempted to go back and find some footage of that. But having said that, my eyes are spoiled by 4K video these days. It's a little hard to watch some of that old stuff. But qualifying winding down now, about 2.5 minutes left, and whoop, was that Poborji taking a little ride through the kitty litter there. A little unwelcome attention right there. And again, folks, damage is off. So some of this wheel banging and running into the barriers and so forth that would put damage on these F4 cars. These guys don't have to worry about that. This is all about seat time and staying on track, and really another good bonus to participating here in the Sim Racers Group F4 competition. Taking a look at Conway there, good looking blue and white car. We're seeing some more custom liveries come out, and if you're watching, get your buddy, get your get your boyfriend, girlfriend who's out here driving, get him to use Trading Paints and get some good liveries out here. Makes the show a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's a really beautiful paint scheme. We see a lot of paint schemes that are very nice throughout the field, so allows some people to put some creativity. It's kind of a way that you can sort of shout out the people you want to shout out while you're doing in these races. And it really is the Sim Racers Group Formula 4 series. It's just a wonderful series to get started in. Understand your racing, and they'll work you up if you've got the speed. You know, it's certainly a phenomenal series to go for. I had a blast all season long getting to broadcast these races. So I think it's worth anybody giving it a try here.
Yeah, they have been fun to call, and I almost am sorry that I'm calling them because it would be fun to be out there. I went out for practice at Bathurst and had a blast driving with these guys, and the car really is a hoot. And if you don't have a lot of open wheel experience, it doesn't take alien like reflexes to get out there, put down decent times, and have a good time in this F4 car. So take it for a whirl. I don't think you'll be sorry. Taking a look now at Jason Cotcher, who's where is he sitting right now? Looks like he's sitting about P6 or P7 in class 13 overall. And look at those times; they're pretty tightly packed. Looks like our top 16 cars are within 1 second. So a pretty tight competition on the short course tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out when we line them up and set them off on the light strop, because I think you'll see some pretty good moves. The backstretch is going to be a great opportunity to have a draft and dive it right into the hairpin, hopefully no contact. But there's certainly options where you can kind of sit and wait and buy your time, utilize the draft, and not have to push your car too hard, and then make your move when you want to. So it'll be interesting to see what we get out of this race. I'm quite excited.
We'll see some contested entries into that hairpin for sure, and people get brave. We might see a couple dives into turn 1 and also into turn 4. Turn 4, though, as I said, it's not super friendly to the gearing in these cars. You're kind of bogging down in third, a little too fast for a second. And if you try and move right there and slow both cars down, you'll really be hating it going up that hill and trying to get a nice run down that back straight. So we'll keep an eye on that for you as well. And qualifying winding down now. And of course, the rule is if you cross the start finish before the timer runs out, you get to keep going. So this qualifying session is going to go a little beyond the 15-minute limit that you see running on our timing tower up there in the upper left. But the top has settled in. Oh, and here comes Velasco. Velasco jumps onto the podium at the last possible moment. It's now Case from Poborgi from Velasco, the only 3 aliens left standing here in week 11, followed by Silji and Schneider and Ganesh are 1, 2, and 3 in Inter 1. Then Bujak, Grunsky, and Lloyd Conway down in P12 overall will be P3 in Inter 2. So the cars are almost off the track here, and looks like the times are settling in, and we're going to buckle up for a very quick 20-minute sprint.
Yeah, that was quite a finish qualifying there, actually. We were kind of waiting on Velasco to do something. There was really no movement in the top 7 or 8 for the last 5-6 minutes, and Velasco finally breaks himself through and gets himself up with all the other inter-alien drivers. So that'll be that's a great move. That sets it up for a good race for the top 3 in the inter-aliens, and kind of splits the field exactly how I expected. You kind of expected the classes to sort of shine out with their lap times on this kind of fast track.
Yeah, and I kind of figured, as I said, that Velasco might have had some bad luck and got held up there, and he sure threw down a heater as time was expiring, only 200ths off of Poborgi, so almost jumped into P2, and we'll get them gridded up and give you your starting field here in a second, and or right now. So it's going to be Stephen Case up front, lining up next to Poborgi in 1 and 2, followed by Velasco next to the Inter 1 pole sitter, Silji in P4, P2 Schneider. P2 in Inter 1, Schneider will be next to the pole sitter in Inter 2, Bujak. Then it's Ganesh and Wang, both Inter 2. Corwin next to Igor Grunsky, P2 in Inter 2. Adrian Lopez next to Lloyd Conway, who is P3 in Inter 2. And we'll get that scrolled in just a second. There we are. And there is Jason Cotcher in row 7 next to Brashear. It'll be Lebivi next to Navis, Duvall next to Cardenas, Van Wagner next to Posada, Trantham next to Dan Swanbeck, Greg Meyer next to Vase in 23 and 24. And yes, there are more cars. It'll be Hagen next to Dylan, Suresh Kumar next to Glasser, Embriette Hyde next to Dan Clark, Neil Day next to Michael Hunt, and taking up the rear, Josh Leslie in P33. And as we wait for the grid to fill here, it looks like 23. Yeah, it looks like Case in pole is going to have the outside run into turn one, which always makes things interesting. He'll have a car length in distance closer to that first corner, but Paborgi will have the inside, so it'll be critical to get a good start here from this standing start off the line. Cold tires, no traction control, of course, on these little cars, so Case is going to need to guard his inside off of this start, Kennen.
Yeah, as long as Stephen Case gets off the line good, he shouldn't have too much of a fight with Paborgi, but if anything goes wrong there, it's Paborgi's line to be able to make a move into turn one. It's a tight right-hander. It'll be interesting to see how it plays through. Thankfully, the track is wide. It'll flow through. We'll see what happens come turn two.
And it looks like everybody is on the grid, and we are green. There we go. And Case gets an excellent start. Paborgi is going to get nothing out of this. It's Case from Paborgi from Velasco, and people going pretty calmly through that first corner, 2-3 wide when we get to the middle of the field, as it normally is. Up front, they're lining up pretty quick, and my goodness, look at that clean start, Kennen. No smoke, no body parts, and we are looking nice and clean and racy in week 11.
You see, everybody gave a lot of room there. I don't think anybody wanted first corner woes, so everybody's filing out really nicely. We'll see what happens come to the hairpin. You see a little side-by-side action midway through the field, and certainly through the back of the field. It's definitely a lot of dicing. So I think everybody's trying to settle in, see what we can bring in to get through the first lap.
And yeah, my goodness, these laps going by quickly. Case covers the inside into that hairpin. Or is that, what am I looking at? I'm looking at turn 4 now. And my lack of familiarity with this new scan is going to be showing. But it is still Case from Paborgi from Velasco. 1, 2, 3 in inner one in Alien. Inner one at Silge from Snyder from Ganesh, who has jumped Wujak, but Wujak still safely well in the lead of inner 2, followed by Corwin, Lopez, Wang, and Cotcher. Grunsky, the next inner 2 driver, 5 positions behind him.
They're all lining up pretty much single file here right now. And who was that, the number 3 car? I don't remember who that is. I think that's Igor that just spun out on the final corner. You see there is a big wreck in the back coming to complete lap 1. So we'll have to go back and look at that as we can. And lots of contact going on back there. Thankfully, like we said, damage is off. These cars will get things straight. Tires come back together. So see what happens. But that's certainly a hindrance on time for a lot of drivers trying to just complete the very first lap.
My goodness. And pro tip, kids, when that yellow comes out, it does not mean floor it and try to make up some positions. It means slow down, or else you end up with the mess that we saw coming out of turn 11 onto the pit straight there. And there's a little bit over rotation, that difficult uphill left-hander, a little left-right that leads onto that pit straight. And we're going to take a look and see what happened there. Taking a look at Grunsky right now. And gets a little nip of dirt there, and yeah, cold tires, and not holding his brakes, and people not slowing here, and ouch, my goodness, look at all those body parts. You could have a yard sale down there at turn 11, and I might add another poetically named corner here at Okayama Circuit. That one is last corner if you're taking notes at home. Meanwhile, up front, it is Case from Paborgi from Velasco, being pretty well behaved up front for the time being and just running nose to tail. Sometimes what these guys like to do is cooperate for long enough to create a gap behind, and that may be what Case Paborgi and Velasco are up to right now. The gap from Velasco back to Silge already 2.5 seconds. So they may be driving off together, Kennen, with an agreement to fight a little bit later once they're clear.
I think that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the top 3, the inner alien drivers. They're all trying to get themselves settled away. They'll have their own battle to themselves. And Jeff Silve's trying anything he can to hang on to that draft and keep with them. But when you line up 3 inner aliens all together, it's going to be hard to stay right with them, especially at this track where come race time, that draft really pulls a lot of speed in the lap time compared to qualifying or even a practice run by yourself.
Ooh, and just as I'm saying that they're driving cooperatively, Paborgi looking pretty racy right now, Kennen. He's showing his nose inside and out here. Doesn't want Case to forget about him back there. And very tight interval. And what I keep waiting to see here, and I don't know if it's going to be possible, but I'd sure like to see somebody try to stick their nose in here at turn one, and we'll see as the race goes on. And my goodness, it's ticking by quickly. Already 4 minutes down, about the 25% point as they come on to the pit straight to begin lap 3. That's Velasco sticking way out there, trying to break the draft from Silge behind, I suppose. But it's still Case from Poborgi, from Velasco up front. And looks like I just saw a flash on the timing tower. Looks like Corwin had just pushed past Jason Cotcher and moving up into P9. And that move is going to have championship implications. See if we can pull that up for you as we follow the drama in 3 different classes here in Formula 4 racing.
It's really a dog-eat-dog battle between Joshua Corman and Jason Cotcher. They're the 2 left to decide the championship. As long as Corman's finishing ahead of Cotcher, it's not a whole lot Cotcher's going to do to catch up to him. See the top 3 of Poborgi actually falling back a little bit there with Stephen Case. I think where Velasco is trying to pull away from Shields is actually overall hurting second and third place there with Poborgi. That he's breaking the draft for everybody, and it's not really making a difference on Shields right now. He's sticking right with him.
Yeah, he definitely is. And my goodness, after Braun put that move on Cotcher, he dropped him like a bad habit, second and a half behind, and now he's reeling in Lopez, less than a half second up to him. So Corwin not going to leave this to chance. He would love to have a buffer between him and Cotcher at this point. We'll keep an eye on that battle and see if he has anything for Lopez. And still up front, a little bit of dicing back and forth, looking at that's Trantham all over Suresh Kumar. And there's that beautiful blue and white car, the delayed commentator's jinx. You see him over rotating there and into the wall. Ouch.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough spin. I think he'll be able to get himself back going, not lose too much in terms of time. He can get a little bit back. That's a rough spin, and we'll just kind of have to keep an eye on the front and through the middle of the field. I think Cotcher maybe might have had a mistake through one of the corners and given up a little bit of time to Corwin, but just probably really a lesson of just pushing a little too hard, getting a little too antsy, and just, everything's on the line. You have to get a win tonight if you're trying to seal any kind of championships hopes alive.
Getting some interesting little 2-car battles breaking out here as well. Looking at Brashear right there trying to reel in Diego Posada. That is for P11, and that is 2 and 3 in class in their intermediate 2 class. And then taking a look, still with Brashear and Posada, and back in the background, that is Navas and Trantham. They want to get involved in this as well. So pretty tight racing here, Kennen, so far. And whoa, nice catch there by Velasco, showing a little Tokyo drift there here at Okayama. Somehow caught that one, and that looks cool and can be kind of fun, but those rear tires are not going to be happy about that slip angle, Kennen.
Oh yeah, they're just screaming right now, burning them up like that. It's still early in the race. You got to make those tires last another 13, 14 minutes. So you can't do that every lap. But I think that kind of speaks to just how hard Velasco's having to push the car to keep up with the front 2. But Borgi and Case are kind of starting to run away, leaving themselves from Velasco. And Velasco's probably trying anything he can. He's probably wondering, how are they pulling away? I'm doing everything I've got. And if you're losing the rear end, it's certainly not going to help the Case.
Yeah, not at all, and might be a moment for Velasco to take a breath here and let those tires recover a little bit. And as I say that, he is all over Poborgi as they head down I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. That is Ganesh coming up on Silge and Justin Snyder. Little 3-way battle coming off of the back straight into turn 5. And got completely discombobulated there. A lot going on out here, folks. But yeah, we are looking at Ganesh there, the meat and the sandwich between Silge and Bujak. And Bujak here still sitting pretty. He has got 6 seconds back to Posada. And as I said, he didn't even really need to attend this one to tie up that championship. And Bujak showing why right now.
Bujak, he's been clean all season. He knows how to mind his time. He knows what battles to pick. And it's certainly played off in the Punch Championship, and really why he's one of the top end or 2 finishers every single week.
Yeah, and some more movement there. My goodness, if you just keep an eye on that timing tower out of the corner of your eye when there's a position change, the highlights will light up there as you just saw Cardenas get by Van Wagner. So there's an awful lot going on here, and we do our best to give everybody screen time that's getting something done out here. But there is a lot of hard racing up and down this 30-car grid, and it can be a handful to bring it all to you. And there is Navis getting by Posada. You saw a little bit of that. And we're looking at Cardenas and Van Wagner there with less than 2/10 gap between them. So my goodness, what a collection of battles that we got out here. Week 11, and these guys are going for it.
You can see all of them down on our live timing board on the left side of the screen. There's yellow and orange lights everywhere where there's close battles, and you're seeing a lot of this with the draft. You're seeing a lot of people trying to buy their time. I think people are starting to settle up, and now that we're halfway through the race, I think your lap times have kind of fizzled out into where groups are with the groups of the speed they run, and the second half of the race we're going to decide who's the best of them.
And somebody having a pretty severe connection problem there. We lost somebody to a different dimension there potentially for a moment, but they are back, and looking back at the Embriette Hyde there has got some company in the form of Ken Glasser behind as they head down into turn 5, and really a great corner right there, Kennen. And again, that's one of the spots that I didn't really appreciate back in the day, but some really nice banking right there, and you can really fling these cars through there with the aid of their mechanical grip, a little bit of downforce. You can really haul the mail right there and head down the hill toward the really difficult turn 6.
Yeah, you can definitely take advantage of it. These wings will certainly help you with the banking. Is a lot of bank corners actually in this corner, but that's certainly one of the more technical corners to get right because of the speed that you really can carry through there compared to a normal hairpin corner we see. We got Jeff Silge looking pretty fast right now. He's probably going to make a run on Snyder, I think, by the end of this race.
Yeah, that's all the battle for fourth now. That's Snyder from Silge, from Ganesh, from Bujak, and all those cars covered by about less than a second and a half. So these cars are trading up a little bit, a little wiggle there. I think that was Bujak hanging a little bit sideways in that tight lefty. But yeah, any of these tracks that have any kind of straightaway, the cars will kind of train up as they get sucked together by this slipstream. But these guys are fighting, man. Look at Silge. He wants this from Schneider. He knows that P1 is within his grasp as the time is ticking out. About 8 minutes left in this one, and Silge is driving the wheels off of that F4 car.
You see it on the exit of almost all those corners. They're just losing left and right. We'll go back. I believe we got Diego Posada had a little incident here going into the infield section. Just carries a little bit of speed. Looks like he got through, had a little bit of a movement, sends it inside. That's where we had it. And a little contact, managed to get on the brakes, kept his car straight, so not too much of a hindrance on that, but that was definitely a not a very respectful send going into a corner.
Yeah, that was a bit of a dive. Arguably had position, but could he have held that inside line without having the assistance of bouncing off the car to the outside? So pretty aggressive move there. And Lopez probably muttering under his breath right now. And taking a look back at Velasco. Case has driven away somehow here. Not sure what happened. Maybe it was Borgi and Velasco scrapping, but Case has developed a 2-second gap back to P2. And yeah, we're going to see maybe what happened right here. Yeah, there's Velasco and Borgi side by side. And Borgi has just dropped down the timing again. He's down in P6, so something else has happened. But yeah, these two scrapping right here has allowed Case to drive off, and we'll just take a look and see if we can see what happened with Borgi. And was it a little spinner here? So tough to time your throttle application right here. Got to get on the power as early as possible, but get on a little too early, and whoops, that is your reward. And Borgi plummeting as he's getting swamped by traffic. Oh my goodness, when you're up front in the top 10, a little mistake like that and 5 positions are gone, and so tough to claw back. I mean, Poborji is going to move back up, but he was within striking distance, Kennen, of a P1 potentially, and it all went south right there. And here's another replay. That is Dylan, little over rotation and catching that blue and white car again, who has gotten some replay action today for all of the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I hate to see that for Poborji. He's got himself a good fight to try and get back to the top 3. I think he may be able to do it, but time's kind of running out for him to mistake that late in the race. He just lost it all on his own. I think Velasco was giving him a good fight, and he just overdrove a little bit trying to stay ahead. And unfortunately, you do see that from time to time, and that's just the difference in a champion and not.
Yeah, nice little.
Ganesh.
Yeah, nice move by Ganesh there, making it happen on the inside of turn 5. His competitor overcooking that entry a little bit. You see a little lockup, see a little bit of smoke, and Ganesh taking advantage there. And that'll put him up into P4. That is P2 in class. And Ganesh now driving with an alien behind him, as is Silge. Who and Jeff, maybe I should just start calling him Jeff. I'm going to apologize to him right now. Last time I mispronounced his name, he came into our Discord channel and said, dude, it's not that hard. And I've already forgotten what he told me how to pronounce it. So sorry, Jeff, but great drive as he's hanging tough in P1 in class and potential podium overall. Time ticking down here, Kennen. Only 3.5 minutes left. And old Jeff is going to have the last lap if he can hang on.
Yeah, we're looking at most 3 laps, and Jeff is really taking it to him. He gets a good break with Poborji, but now Poborji's in quite a fight himself, so he's not going to have that much ease getting back up. And then you look on the list, Daniel Bujek, the man deserves his flowers today, the first of the 3 classes to lock up his championship. And he's proven why, running 5th, well ahead of the second place in Inter 2. There's a reason he's the champion, and he's very deserving of it.
Running 5th and wants more as he stuffs it down the inside. Almost gets a piece of Ganesh there. And oh my goodness. Oh. And that will open the door. Oh my goodness. And that little fight caused what somebody thought was an opportunity. Maybe, maybe not, but resulted in a little dive. And there's Bujak taking a peek down the inside. And who is in the red car there, seeing the opportunity? Oh, that's Poborji, impatient after his previous error, wanting to get back up on the podium. And Bujak paying the price for Poborji's impatience there. And that's got to hurt, Kennen.
Yeah, I feel bad. I just commentator cursed him pretty bad on that one. That might be my first one ever, but that was Poborji just sent it in there. I think he was just pushing everything he can. You know he's got to be upset behind the wheel right now with how things happened a couple laps ago. And Bujak, I think, is the one that paid the price for that incident.
Yeah, and Bujak's lead plummeting to 11 seconds. It's almost into single digits now as we approach 3 minutes remaining in this one. So we're going to see the white flag within a lap or 2. And up front, it is still Case with a 2.5-second lead over Velasco. Silge hanging on with Ganesh sniffing all over behind him with 0.6 interval. And then it's a pretty big gap back to Lopez, then Snyder, Poborji sitting in P7, Bujak there in 8, Corwin and Cotcher still fighting it out. They're sitting at 9 and 10 currently, with Corwin holding the advantage right now. And oh my goodness, that was Wang and yeah, maybe Trantham.
Trantham. Yeah.
Getting a little bit heated right there. I didn't see the beginning of that, but I saw the end of it, and that was Trantham over-rotating that car in a cloud of smoke. We're going to take another look at this one. Here is that tough turn 5. Big banking right there. And managed to stay side by side. And this is the tough part. Oof. Yep, that is the trap, Kennen, of Okayama. That turn 6, you nail turn 5, you feel great about it, you're hauling ass down that hill, and then turn 6, there's a little bump there, it's a little bit off camber, and if you don't nail it just right, you get that little spinner right there. And I say that from experience. I pulled that one a couple times during practice today. So really a challenging sequence right there, 5 and 6.
5 and 6 section. It's very difficult. It's downhill. You want to push it more than you can. We've got Silge. Oh, wow. Fighting with Ganesh there. So he manages to hold off, it looks like, as we're going through 5 and 6. And you see Both drivers taking absolutely everything they can of that corner, even a little sand. So we're shaping up for a good battle for the final podium position. Looking at the
Yeah.
white flag coming this time by.
Ganesh, pretty racy right there, and I don't know if he has anything left. Once you put that kind of heat in these tires, they need a little breather to get their grip back. That might have been Ganesh's only shot, and it was a good shot. Our buddy Jeff was sweating that one, but manages to get away. And right now it's Jeff ahead of Ganesh with about 3/10. The white flag is out. Stephen Case has driven away again. And there is Jeff trailing Velasco now, that is Silj and Ganesh, and that 0.3 gap for the last step on the podium. And does Ganesh have another move here as we work our way down? He's certainly keeping Jeff honest here. Oh, and he's going to show his nose just a little bit. Turn 4. Got to get a good run out of this, Kennen, down that long straightaway. And you see that slipstream going to work of that gap. Drop. It's under 0.1. Is Ganesh going to stuff it inside? How can he not? It is wide open. And Jeff just gives up on that one, leaves the door open. And Ganesh is going to take that P3 away from Silj. And that is a tough one for Jeff because he has driven a great race. He's hung at the front for 19 out of 20 minutes and just had it snatched away from him just in that last moment. Ouch.
Yeah, that was a really crisp move by Ganesh. I think Jeff would like to have an opportunity coming onto the front stretch. The traffic will play a little bit of a part, but he's kind of slipped back a little bit. I don't know. He might be out of time in corners.
Yeah, and not a lot that could be done right there. You'd almost have to be side by side at that last corner to make anything happen before start finish. So there is your finish as they come across the line. And as we've gotten accustomed to here, very entertaining and hard racing here. And there's maybe some sore feelings there as we see an intentional crash there after crossing start finish. And pro tip, kids, if your competitor has force feedback on high, that can actually cause an injury. So we shouldn't do that as we watch our field come through. There's somebody having a problem. Oh my goodness, toward the back. That is Trantham. And we've seen Trantham's car facing the wrong way on course a couple times tonight. And he's going to lose a couple more spots spinning out of turn 11 onto the front straight. And he may be glad that this one is over. That F4 car and him not getting along tonight in the least.
Yeah, Trantham was having a pretty good run all race long. It seemed like the last 6 minutes, the race just kind of fell away from him. Overheated the tires, made the car. It was a little bit of a handful to drive the last end of the race, but a couple mistakes certainly proving kind of costly for his finish tonight.
Yeah, but all in all, a great race. And, looks like Bujak, as we said, mathematically has it sewn up. And we'll take a look. Unfortunately, I don't think we are going to have time to calculate these points between Corwin and Cotcher, but those two were very, very close at the top of Inter 1. And Case, with the absence of Mikovits, may have sealed his championship position in Alien class with his performance today. So we'll get those final results up for you in a moment, and Kennen will read through those with you. I'm going to take a quick peek outside and see if there's anybody waiting to speak to us today.
Yeah, so as we see, we got the race results here. Stephen Case solidifying himself as the champion in Inter Alien, finishing first tonight. Alex Velasco, very beautiful run. Managed to get past Paporji there at the end with the mistakes Paporji had. Thul Ganesh, Jeff Silj, Adrian Lopez, Justin Snyder, your top 4 in the Inter 1 group. And then we've got Paborji, tough run, finishing 7th. Daniel Bujak coming up 8th. Corwin and Cotcher side by side racing for the championship. I think Corwin may be able to seal the deal now with the finishing position tonight. And then rounding out the top 18 here, we got Christopher Wang, Thomas Bashir, Daniel Lebovy, Adam Duvall, Diego Posada, Lloyd Conway, Greg Meyer, and Igor Grunsky. And we'll go through here the rest of the field. Big field, 33 cars. We got Rafael Cardenas, got 19th. Coker and Dillon with, I believe he's a new guy. Good run, finishing 20th. Jason Tarantham with a rough end of the race, but still coming up 21st. And then rounding out the last 10 positions, we got Jose Navas, Dan Swanbeck, Neil Day, Ken Glasser, Dan Clark, Tyler Hagan, Michael Hoon, Embriet Hyde, Manish Shirshkumar, who really didn't have a whole lot to say for this race. He's normally one we talk about a lot. Aaron Van Wagner, Sorb Vase, and Josh Leslie rounding out the 31st, 32nd, and 33rd positions.
All right. So go ahead.
Oh, no, it looks like we've got quite a filled up interview room, so we'll have a real fun time in the press meeting here.
Yeah, we do. We got a little bit of a clown car developing in here, and I'm going to go a little bit outside of the box. I want to bring Cotcher and Corwin in here together. And you fellas got a lot of screen time today. You're right at the top of the points in class, and it looks like you had a pretty good fight going here at Okayama. So let's start with Jason. How'd that one unfold for you, man?
Oh, I didn't get the qualifying that I wanted. I kind of struggled to find a draft partner. I ended up a couple of cars back, and I mean, what a race. It's so tantalizing to have Josh right there in front of me the whole time. He got off in turn one, and I wasn't paying attention to tire deg. I guess I made the same mistake. He got back by me, and yeah, I've got a ha-ha button on my steering wheel. Just a great time, and congratulations to Josh on winning the Inter 1 championship. I think Stephen Case has probably got the Inter Alien championship wrapped up, and Dan Vujak won Inter 2 by 1 point on the results last week. Just a great time, fun to forget about life for a while. Really appreciate these guys, and congrats to them. They're all well deserved. So very stoked for them. Congrats, Josh.
Thank you.
All right, Josh. So how was that race from your seat? It looks like you guys were pretty busy with each other for the entire 20-minute sprint.
Yeah, I tried to get a good qualifier in too, and just was stuck with a lot of lap traffic. Couldn't put one together, so I didn't qualify as well as I hoped for. And then I got stuck. Adrian Lopez got around me about halfway through the race, and I was on their tail pretty much the whole race. And then a couple miscues by me, and Adrian starting to take off. And then I saw Jason starting to catch up, and then I go off and he gets around me, and then we switch errors. He goes off, I get around him, and I had one eye in my mirror the whole race, just seeing how close Cotcher was. Because by my math, by just beating him today would clinch the Inter 1 championship. So yeah, feels pretty good.
Yeah, I think that is correct. So congratulations on that, Josh. And we have definitely enjoyed your driving thus far this season. Season's not over, but you have definitely been consistent. You've been fast. And who can forget that face in your SDK profile? I love it when we put that on the screen. I'm not sure if we got around to showing that today, Mike.
He's not as scary as his profile photo.
No.
The beard is true, though. The beard is true.
Totally on purpose, totally for just have fun and have fun with it and give people a laugh. So yeah.
Oh, too right, man. So Josh, as we wrap up, this is the first time you've come in and chatted with us. So thanks for coming in and sharing your perspective on the race. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Oh, absolutely. Jason Cotcher for all the stuff he does, and Tyler Hagan for all the help he supports. All these guys I'm going to start racing F3 next season. I got to up my game because they are a lot faster than me. And then, Z-Car Garage, Rob Fuller, my parents, Bonnie and Keith, and also Laura and Chris, who tune in every week to watch me as well, give me props when I do well.
All right. Excellent. Well, congratulations again, Josh. Great season. And hopefully you will go ahead and show up with us next week. And I've already forgotten where it is.
It's Fuji without the chicane.
No, it's an abbreviated Suzuka, which will be very
Suzuka. Woo. Yeah, and Jason, what do you mean by abbreviated? Is there a short course there that I don't know about?
Yeah, it's not the full course. You cut from the Casio hairpin across the infield straight into Degna 1. So you don't get start finish or the S's up the hill. It's the second half of the circuit, which I've never driven before. And it'll be interesting to see how 35 F4s do around an abbreviated GP circuit. Could be wild. Tune in.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So if you're a fan of go-karting, you might want to tune in for that one. All right, Jason, Josh, a great drive today. And we are going to let you go. We have got a room full of people and we're going to move on. Thanks so much for coming in and chatting with us.
Thanks, guys. Congrats, champs. Good job. See you later.
Thank you.
All right. And gosh, I don't know. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I don't even know who to grab. Let's bring in Igor Grinsky, Kennen, and maybe you can pry some info out of him here today.
How's it going, Igor? You got a copy? This is Kennen.
Check. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can hear you.
Oh, finally, I made it work.
Yes. Welcome, man. This is a wonderful time to be here. We covered you a couple times, a couple of spins. If you ended up P18, tell us about your run.
Oh gosh, I spun in the first corner, and it was so interesting. Someone in the chat like, "Hey, who's gonna spin in the first corner, on last corner?" And I'm like, "No, that's not me." And I lose the car right after that. So that was unfortunate, and it kind of messed up the rest of the race for me. I think I made it pretty good in terms of catching up and getting back some positions and some good racing. Again, not perfect, but I guess I'm fine overall with this, with the result, especially in the last corner as well. Someone bought me from behind, and I was like drifting sideways in the last corner, last lap. I was so close to losing it, and I finally made it and finished the race. But yeah, my heart rate was like 160, or I don't know, more than that. It was kind of crazy. I'm glad it's over. To be honest, I can take a break.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it was a challenging course out there, but I know you're really in quite a heated battle to possibly get third in points in the Inter 2 championship. You didn't quite make any gain on Duval or Novice today, a little bit on Trantham, but what do you think going into one last race at Suzuka next week you'll have to do to maybe get a third place in the championship?
I mean, I'm not really, I don't really care that much. I mean, there is like competitive part, but yeah, this is the last, no, that's before. I'm like first year racing, maybe like 10 months ish. And, I'm just looking at my progress from where I started, how, faster and hopefully more consistent I become. And I think that's what matters in terms of, where would I finish, what position. I don't really care that much. I mean, we're kind of close in the upper, like, like second, not the second, third, fourth, fifth place. I guess it's a pretty close fight. So, even if I end up, like lost of that, that's okay. It's more about the process. It's not that much about result. So
Well, I think it certainly speaks being in that competition that 10 months in, you're showing consistency. You're really looking pretty good throughout the season. It's been a really fun time calling you. And got anybody you want to thank? Some sponsors, friends back home, anybody to shout out?
Well, I mean, I just want to say thank you to Jason and Tyler. They, kind of embraced me in this community from like out of nowhere. And I didn't know about sim racing, and I didn't like. I had a chip wheel and Gran Turismo on my TV when I started, and I started looking out, and they just gave me so much, you know, like a stage place to practice and meet new friends, and it's just super awesome that something like that exists, and I can just be part of that community. So yeah, great kudos. It's a great place, great like a lot of respect, but also a lot of fun. I think it's a healthy balance of both, and I just really appreciate it. So yeah, kudos to guys, and all the best. Like growing the community and raising to the new heights, and happy to be part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think Jason's done a really good job putting together a fantastic group of people. And we see it week after week here, just the way everybody's getting better, everybody's growing, everybody's learning. That's really the whole point of the series. And it's nice to see it's paying off. So thanks for coming into the booth for a minute, Igor. Finish off the season strong next week.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right, that was Igor Grinsky, and you heard him talk about his struggles. He made a little error, lost 8 positions from qualifying, but still hanging tough in the points. As Kennen said, he's within striking distance of a season podium. He may be able to make that happen at Suzuka, and that is one of the stories that we'll be following in the finale. And next, let's bring in Embriette Hyde. Embriette, welcome to the booth. How's it going tonight?
Good.
Excellent. So why don't we have not had you in before? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got hooked up with Sim Racers Group?
Hello.
Hello.
Hmm.
And we can hear you. Can you hear me? All right. We may. Ambriette, can you hear us? All right. We're going to have to put her back in cold storage here. And we will bring in Thomas Brashear. Thomas, how's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
It is going really well. We love broadcasting these races. You guys put on a hell of a show today. Super fun. So thanks for coming by and chatting with us. Can you tell us about the race from your perspective today?
Yeah, actually, it was a pretty calm and collective race. I was really trying to go for the 0x, and would have happened if I wasn't screen peeking my roommate's point of view, because then I got an off track and then I spun out towards the end. But overall, I enjoyed it a lot. I like Okayama, so it was a blast.
Yeah, we put together a good drive. That's a P12 overall and a P2 in class. So really well done. And, I agree with you about Okayama. Back in my rookie Miata days, I was not a fan of the track, but something about the rescan, something about the F4 car, it was an absolute hoot around here. And it seems like you managed to keep it clean, as you said. Looks like you had 2 off tracks, and that is it. That's on the low end of this list that I'm looking at. So,
Yeah.
so very well done. So are you racing from home, or are you down at Sim Racers Group tonight?
I'm here at the shop at Sim Racers Group.
Nice. Okay. And for those of you who are just joining us, Sim Racers Group is an actual brick and mortar facility in the east side of San Jose where you can show up and sit down with your buddies. And they got 10, 12 sim rigs lined up there. And a lot of these drivers that you saw on track tonight are participating from Sim Racers Group. And Thomas was one of those. So when you said you were screen peeking, so you were looking at someone else's monitor that was driving next to you while you were driving?
That is correct. My roommate Diego Posada is to my left, and I have the occasion of like kind of screen peeking to see what type of engagements he's in with other drivers. And unlucky to myself, I missed my breaking point and kind of went off track. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep my eyes on the road instead and just do a nice, calm and collective drive after that.
When I first imagined this room full of sim rigs, that's one of the first things I thought about was the temptation to peek at the screen next to you. So I guess you learned the consequences of that. Well, awesome, man. Thanks so much for stopping by and chatting with us. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to today?
I think the biggest thanks I would like to give is to Jason to organizing this whole thing. I think he took a big step for this, and from Diego and I've been here since basically the beginning. So seeing the shop grow and seeing the amount of people that join F4 and all the other leagues has been a blast.
Yeah, it is really special. And as you said, it is growing. We're going to have F3 on Tuesday night and F4 on Wednesday. And it is a great learning experience and a great way to climb the ladder into these open wheel cars. So super fun to watch. And here at Slow Motion Broadcasting, we're super pleased to be on the ride with you. So Thomas, thanks for swinging by, and we will see you next week at Suzuka.
Thank you, guys. You have a great rest of the afternoon or evening.
All right, Kennen, I will hand off the roommate of Mr. Brashear, Diego Posada, to you, and I'm going to jump over into the interview room and see if I can help Ambriette with her audio issue. So I'll be right back.
Yeah.
How's it going, Diego? We were just talking with Thomas. It sounds like you must have had some pretty good on-track battles that even he couldn't look at his own screen to have to watch. So tell us about your run, how your day went.
Well, it definitely was very fun. I started off today. I made up some good places in the first couple laps. And then I feel like every lap I just lost the position after that. So I think I started above where I began, but yeah, it was a little bit all over the place for me. Apologize to Jose. I took him out with an ugly dive bomb into one of the hairpins. So a public apology to Jose for that.
We did actually cover that dive bomb, and that was quite a sin. Thankfully, it didn't look like it overall affected the finishing position. Everybody got back going pretty quickly, but that was quite a move going into one of those final corners there.
I think I had gotten like 1 or 2 already in the race, so I probably just got a little greedy with that one in the moment. But definitely owe Jose a big apology for that one. It was pretty egregious.
Well, we will hope Jose hopefully watches the broadcast on the Slow Motion Broadcasting Network, and he'll see it. You did gain 5 positions today from your starting position, so had a good run, top 15. Going into Suzuka, I don't know if you call it the South Course or the North Course, but I guess it's the second half of Suzuka next week. What are you looking forward to in the finishing up the season come Monday or Wednesday?
Well, it's nice that it's a track that we've already done. I always love when it's a track we've already done, so I don't have to worry about learning the layout because I only come in on Wednesdays in house, so I don't have a sim rig at home. So it's always nice when it's a track that we're familiar with. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. It'll be fun. Suzuka's a great track to race on. I feel like in these cars it suits it really well. Maybe not so much modern day F1, but it's a good track, and I'm really excited for it for sure.
Yeah, Suzuka usually always produces great racing, so I think season's going to finish out strong. Who do you have to thank? You got anybody you want to shout out? A good friend? I know Thomas is probably sitting right next to you, waiting to listen to his name come out of your mouth.
I'm gonna keep on shouting out Jason for putting this all together for us to do. Thomas and I probably already said that we've been coming here for a long time, and we're grateful every time we walk through these doors.
Awesome, man. Yeah, well, great race tonight. Hopefully, finish the season off strong next week, and look forward to calling that one too. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
All right, that was Diego Posada, and I do think that we have overcome technical issues preventing us from speaking to Embriette Hyde. Embriette, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me this time?
Yes, we definitely can.
Right.
So thanks for hanging around and fighting through that to chat with us. You have not been in the booth before, so tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with SRG.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think last season was the last time I interviewed with everybody, and I actually got involved. It was a date night. My husband took me on a date, and he brought me to SRG, and we met Jason. And he got us set up just in a little session, the two of us at Laguna Seca, and we both just fell in love with it. So we joined the SRG crew for about a season and a half, and then we decided this was going to be a thing. So we invested in our own rigs, and we have our setup here at home. So we race from home, and we continue racing with the SRG crew on Wednesday nights, and then I've been getting into some endurance racing too. So they're kind of dragging me into that.
Nice. So there are 2 full sim rigs set up at your house.
Yes, we're back to back.
Well, that is awesome. And if you don't mind me saying, I see on your Discord persona there a picture of your street car going down the corkscrew. Is that your car?
Yes, that's our car. We share it. That's our GR86, and that is me going down the corkscrew.
That is awesome. I just drove my X3 down there at the IMSA race a few weeks ago, and it was an absolute hoot. Nobody thought that a truck could do it, but it definitely did. So that is awesome. So how often do you guys make the trip over to Laguna Seca?
Not as often as we would like, but we were there for the IMSA weekend, which was awesome. That was probably the first time we'd been there since the reunion, I think, in September. But we've been a few times to track days, both with our motorcycles and the car. It's just difficult because it's so much more expensive at Laguna than it is other tracks in the area.
Well, and speaking of other tracks in the area, the Bay Area, you got a lot to pick from around there. So you're kind of in a motorsports paradise where you are right there, and you get Sim Racers Group and a rig in your basement now. So welcome to the addiction, and thanks so much for coming and chatting with us. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you'd like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Yeah, I mean, since I told the origination story, I guess I can't go without thanking my husband Jose for getting me involved in this, and for buying my rig. But of course, Jason and the whole SRG crew, it's been really fun racing with the guys. They're all super supportive and give really helpful tips. I've grown a lot as a racer just because of the support that I get from the group, and I just can't wait to keep going next season with everybody and see if I can start to get a little faster. And of course, I have to shout out my mom. She watches these every night. She loves them, and she's gonna keep going. She says she's addicted now too, so the addiction is growing.
Excellent. Well, we are like a virus, and we aim to spread. So that is great to hear, Embria. And thank you again for stopping by and chatting with us. And we'll see you next week at Suzuka.
All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right. And somehow, well, I can't. All right. I've lost the ability to drag. Oh, there she goes. Somehow we have gotten through that crowd of people that was hanging around the green room outside the broadcast booth, Kennen, and my goodness, what a fantastic race. I got to say, I was not really looking forward to this track when I saw it on the schedule 11 weeks ago. But it's a pretty good track for these cars, and they put on a great show today. But in any event, I am JR Gregory on behalf of myself, my partner, Kennen Miller, our producer, Mike Braun, and everyone here at Slow Motion Broadcasting. Thanks so much for joining us. You'll definitely want to check out next week's action at Suzuka. And I would be remiss. I'm not sure if you noticed the fantastic camera work that we had today, courtesy of Mike Braun, but we are using a custom camera pack from Whiplash SimCams and really taking this broadcast to an extra level. So shout out to them for a fantastic product. And that is going to wrap it up for today. You enjoy your day wherever you are, and hang on, baby. The weekend's coming.